I'll turn it over to Coach Forbes.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Welcome. Sorry that you're missing out on a free meal or, at least some free coffee. I wish we could meet face to face, but obviously in these times, it's not possible. I think our players are doing a really good job, knock on wood, with COVID. It's not your typical college life for these guys. They have to be very conscientious about who they're around, social distancing. And now that we're testing 3 times a week, I'm very proud of the way they've handled themselves since we've come back to campus. There's been a lot of hard work done with Dr. Miles and the whole staff, and Murphy Grant and our trainer, GC. I mean, those guys have worked really, really hard to make this a very safe environment. And I know for the most part, the students, are working really hard, to try to make it as safe as possible. And I was really kind of a happy, sad moment last week when Dr. Hatch talked about, deciding to retire. Obviously I have a lot of great feelings about Dr. Hatch giving me my first opportunity to be a high major head coach. He believed in me. I've enjoyed my interaction with him. I know he really likes the game of basketball. I haven't played in any of his pickup games yet, but I'm trying to get back in shape so that maybe, I can do that one of these days. I want to talk a little bit about what we've been doing, and then I'll open it up to questions. Okay. I want to talk a little bit. Mike Starkey's my strength and conditioning coach, and I believe he's the best in the country. I had a hard time keeping him at East Tennessee State, Texas, Stanford, Arkansas. I interviewed him while I was there with him, but I was able to hold on to him. We've made some really good strides since we came back to campus, in the weight room. And you got to remember, those guys from March until July they didn't do a whole lot and weren't able to do a whole lot. Odi Aguama has probably shown the most improvement. He played at about 206 last year. He's now 223, so he's up 17 pounds, and he's one of the hardest playing guys, if he's the hardest playing guy on the team. So he exerts a lot of energy every day. Emmanuel Okpomo has gained 17 pounds since his arrival. Jalen Johnson, who's a fifth-year guy, is plus 15 since getting here. Isaiah Mucius is plus 10. Tariq Ingram is minus 12, coming off a really tough injury. I think he's worked really hard, been very diligent in his rehab, and he's back on the court. He's practicing. Our last practice was the only time he hasn't practiced really since I've been back, and he was a little sore. But he'll be back ready full board today. And Isaiah Wilkins has completely transformed his body and leaned himself out since we've gotten back. So Mike is the best. We lift 4 times a week, and that'll remain it'll remain that way all year long. We've been on the court 56 times since I guess July 25th. Now that started with very small groups, and now we're up to team practice. We've had 6 practices since we could go to the 20-hour rule. I believe we're 4-2. That means we're on a 2-game practice losing streak coming into today. We didn't have a very good practice on what's today? On Tuesday. In fact, I threw them out about 3:30 and brought them back at 9, and they weren't very competitive, and that's not acceptable. We're going to be competitive every day in practice, and for the most part, they have. They worked really, really hard, but it's just part of our identity, and it's something that we're never not going to do. The guys who defend and take care of the ball will play the major minutes. We're struggling right now to keep the ball out of the middle of the floor defensively, which is really important to me. We got to be able to get the drill work on defense into live action. Our two best perimeter players as of right now are Ian DeBose and Isaiah Wilkins. The turnovers have improved over the past couple of weeks. I think last time we talked, I wasn't very pleased with the way we were handling the ball. We have 4 guys on the team with a positive assist turnover ratio. Ian DeBose and Isaiah Wilkins are over 2-1. And then Davian Williamson and Jacoby Neath are close to 2-1, but they're point guards, and they need to be north of 2-1. Shooting percentages have gone down a little bit last couple weeks because I think the defense has gotten better. I look at shooting percentages maybe a little different. I try to add them all together. So if I had my I don't know where my stat sheet is, but if I had a stat sheet here, the number would be 160. So in other words, I think that would be 40 from the field, 35 from 3, and 80 from the line. And so that's up to 160. You'd like to get to 190 or 180, I'm sorry. Jonah Antonio's at 169. Davian Williamson, 168. Ish Masood, 168. And Jacoby Neath at 162. I don't really have all their numbers here with the stat sheet, but they're shooting the ball, pretty well. Isaiah Mucius has provided the most leadership on the team on and off the floor. He's been great to coach, one of our hardest workers. And like I said before, Odi Aguama is our hardest worker every day in the weight room and in practice. So with that being said, I guess I can open it up to questions.
Hey, Coach Forbes, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's early in this process. How deep of a rotation can you see yourself playing with? How many guys do you think are playable now? And what do you want that number to get to by the time you tip off in 5 weeks or so?
Les, I think with this team right now, looking at it, we probably, if we started tomorrow and played, we'd be around 9 maybe, possibly. I don't know if we could get to 10. I like to play a lot of guys. I like guys to play hard, and then get out. But you have, like I said, the guys that defend are the guys that are going to play the major minutes. And so I could see us going that deep right now. A lot of times as the season goes along, that shortens up a little bit. Just depends on practice. Either getting better or getting worse every day. And playing time, for me, is determined in practice.
For the fans, how would you best describe your 5-out offense to the casual Wake Forest fan? And do you have the personnel right now to kind of run that effectively?
Well, I mean, that's what we started out running is motion. I think what motion does, it gets you to share the ball, move the ball, and also gets you to become a better defensive team in practice because it's not predictable. What happens when you just run plays in practice, kids tend to just sit on the plays and they don't defend to the principles. And so that's one of the biggest reasons why I try to run motion is because I think it's good offense, but I also think it helps you get better defensively. We've got, I believe in push and play. Les is when we get the ball, we push it up as fast as we can, try to get a great shot. I don't run a secondary break because if you do, then you don't have a primary. And so if we don't get that shot, then we move into motion or we move our breakdown offense. And that could be motion, that could be drive and kick, and that could be ball screen. And we have several different looks because, if you go back to baseball, you can't throw a fastball. At least I couldn't. I couldn't throw a fastball all game long because guys like Stan Cotton are going to sit on it and then they're going to hit it, and so you got to mix it up, Les. So you'll see motion, you'll see drive and kick. You should like that. You're a Kentucky guy. Calipari invented dribble drive. Him and Vance Wahlberg. So, we'll run some of that and then we'll ball screen. But motion is, teaching guys to read screens, move the ball, space, post, get out, drive, kick, read, a lot of great things with motion. And so you'll see all that. And then on a miss or on a make, we'll run a quick hitter into a breakdown. And right now, I think we have 50 quick hitters in at this point.
Coach, I don't think we've talked about this before, but you've been in college basketball long enough to know that in major college basketball, there's usually 9 or 10 coaching changes during an off season. But you are the only coach who has been hired in major college basketball this off season. I'm just interested in what you make of that.
Well, I mean, Josh, I think you have to look at the pandemic had everything to do with that. It was very different times. Nothing that we've ever experienced in our life. And maybe you could go back and say I'm the only fool that took a job during a pandemic. If you look at it, we have not been able to leave the campus and recruit. We have not been able to have a kid visit. And I think one of the biggest things in recruiting advantage for us is a visit. And so, now maybe it wasn't smart because of the situation, but I took a great job and I was very lucky to get it. And thank you to John Curry for believing in me the way he believes in me, and Dr. Hatch for believing in me to lead this program. And so I just think, Josh, it was more, the world kind of stopped, right? I mean, I remember, I'm sure you remember, we had just played our tournament. We won it. We were so excited. I'll never forget this. I was on the bus coming home from Asheville on Monday, the week of what would have been the ACC tournament. We had just beat Wofford to qualify for the NCAA tournament. And Freddie Coleman had me on his ESPN show driving home on the bus. And his first question was, Steve, what do you think of COVID? And I said, well, I hadn't really thought about it. I mean, that was honest truth. I hadn't thought about it. We just won, and then 2 days later, Rudy Gobert goes down with COVID. NBA shuts down and we're shut down. I really truthfully, and then I panicked because I probably had 1,000 people hug me and touch me in Asheville after a game. So I figured maybe I had it, I didn't know, and I was worried for a couple of weeks. It's just been, I think, just the unprecedented times is probably the reason why that occurred.
But following up real quick, did you think there was any chance when you were sitting there a month after the season that you might get any interest? I'm sure you've gotten interest when you were at East Tennessee State. Did you think there was a chance that could happen this offseason?
I didn't know. I didn't really think about it because I was so busy recruiting, and I was so excited because I had the ETSU's recruiting done by the end of April. And that had never happened ever, so I was pretty chilled out. I was feeling pretty good about things, had a really good team coming back and I had added some really good pieces. So I wasn't really thinking about something like that. That time had passed. I was more worried about, the health and safety of my players and my family and my mom. My mom lives in Iowa by herself and, she's homebound. And so I haven't seen my mom since Christmas, and so it's like those things were all flying around. We didn't really know. Each day was something different, right? And so I wasn't thinking about a job until my phone rang. In fact, I think I've told you this before. I was watching the Jordan series. I think it was the second one when the phone rang, and I haven't seen it since, and so maybe I will one of these days, but no, I really wasn't thinking about it.
Steve, what do you know about the schedule? And I think there was a report on Twitter earlier that you guys are going to have an MTE, and was wondering if you could confirm that.
Yeah, we're getting close to announcing that. We don't have all the contracts, so it's kind of like, you can't put the horse ahead. What is the cart ahead of the horse? I mean, I understand Twitter, and Twitter never lies. I get it. But we're working hard at it, and we're getting close. We only get 7 games, but we are going to have an MTE and feel good about it. We're getting close. We're really trying hard, hopefully to have 7 home games, for some safety reasons and just the fact that, we don't have a lot of opportunities anyway to schedule when you have 20 league games, right? And so I don't have a league schedule yet either. And so, but we're getting close, and I would think you'd see something here pretty quick. And it's hard. It's been a big juggling act. Frank Davis, who's my director of basketball operations, has worked hard at it every day, just based on existing contracts, and then and then trying to move dates, and then losing dates. There's just a lot of juggling going on, but a little more patience, and we'll have it done for you. Okay.
What about the ACC Big Ten Challenge?
Yeah, we're not in it this year. And hopefully from here on out we will be. And for me, that's kind of exciting, to be honest. I grew up in the Big Ten country. I grew up 10 minutes from the University of Iowa, and so for me personally, I think that'd be fun to be a part of. But we're not in it this year.
Hey, Coach, good to see you. You look a whole lot better than the last time I saw you in the dentist chair, by the way.
Yeah, that was tough.
I'm interested in, you said you threw the guys out of practice.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, 1,000 years ago when I was at Marshall with Billy Donovan, he used to do that a lot, and he was like 28, 29 years old, and the players didn't really like that. And I'm wondering, do you think your current guys, the guys that didn't know you at least, thought that was extreme? And, what other extreme measures do you have with regard to getting them in shape and ready to go?
Stan, I'm just a big believer in practicing hard. We don't do a lot of sprinting, like, line drills, and maybe after everything is competitive. So we keep a score. And so then there's guys that have to, run maybe from a loss. Okay. But I'm not big into that. I think they took it really personal, and I like that. I think they understand with me, there's a certain way we're going to do things every day. And if you don't do it, and it's just our identity that I've talked about till I blew in the face when I got here, is hard, smart, together, share the ball, gritty, grimy, tough on defense, grab the ball with two hands, and execute. And when you're not doing that, it's not acceptable. And that practice didn't have the energy that they needed to have, and so I ended it and brought them back, and their energy was a lot better. and we get 4 hours a day. I'm never going to go over that, but I took advantage of the situation, that we had a little extra time in daylight. Our day, and so I brought them back. I threw them out, and I think they took it personal. I don't think they want to do that again, but they know if they don't come with the right energy every day in practice, that will happen.
Thank you,
Steve. When it comes to just getting to know the personalities on this team a little bit more, now that you're actually like in front of them a lot more these last couple months than maybe when you first started with the job, what do you kind of see in from some of these guys that are maybe in those lead roles, or maybe just the team overall of the kind of guys that they are?
We got great guys. One of the things that we do different than probably a lot of Division I programs is our guys check in the office every day before 1 o'clock, Monday through Friday, and they got to have a conversation, with the coach. In fact, Jacoby was just in here. I told him, man, you gotta go, man. I'm prepping for this major press conference that I'm about to have, and I was a little nervous, so I said I can't. I'm not nervous, but I needed. But I like that interaction, right? I see their smiling face. Ian DeBose. This is not the principal's office. This is the head coach's office, and so one of the proudest things I've ever – somebody wrote – there was an article about a month ago. It was talking about my relationships with the players. And Isaiah Musa said he's everything. He's full of tough love. And when he can get on you about a defensive mistake but then crack a joke with you literally 2 seconds later. He's about making sure you're doing the right thing. He wants to keep your confidence level up at a high level. He's a player's coach. He wants us to be confident in our game and our approach. He instills that confidence. He's been hard on us, but in the right way. He wants the best for each and every one of us. When a player says that about you, you feel pretty good about that. But you also feel like, you know, they're getting the message. And so, you know, to answer your question, I mean, I've tried to develop a very personal relationship with each and every one of them, you know, and they're all different. They're all different. Some are quieter than others. Some are a little more outgoing. Some of them I've had to prod a little bit to open up to me, but everybody's different, and I know that. And you can't coach everybody the same way. Some guys you can get on them in practice. Some guys you got to bring them in the office and talk to them behind closed doors. It's just the nature of dealing with people. And so I think we got super guys. I think we got a lot of personality. I think they really want to do better. I think they really want to be coached. I think they're enjoying being coached, and they want to win. They want to win. They want things to change. But I always tell them, I got the hardest head, so I'm not changing. You're changing. So, you know, that's kind of where we're at.
Steve, I wanted to ask you about the time lost to, you know, normally the in-person time you would have had in the spring and earlier. Is there a way to make up for that at this point when you're trying to get, like you're talking about, foundational things taught to players about expectations or things you want to do with, you know, on the court? Is there a way to make up for that time?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I think it's more just, you know, it was what it was. We had to deal with it. We did a lot of things, you know, through Zoom, like we're doing. But the reality of it is, you can't really get those things done until you see each other face to face, and until you get in the gym, you know, and especially the identity piece. You can talk about identity all you want till you actually go out there and do it, you know. And so, yeah, that probably put us behind, you know, as far as laying the groundwork, you know, for what we want to do. But it's they know it's laid in there now, you know, and we've maximized our practice time. And, you know, one thing about I love practice, so there's no wasted time. And we're getting better and better and better. Season's starting a little bit later, so that's giving us a little bit more time. I'm concerned that, you know, we're not going to get an exhibition game or a scrimmage, you know, against outside competition. I always look forward to those to kind of measure your team where you're at. One of the things I think I'm going to do is maybe next Saturday is do a simulation of a game day. Have them come in and have a pregame practice at 10 a.m., feed them, send them back to their room, maybe come back and play at 4, you know, just to kind of get them used to what a game day is, man. And a game day with me, it's probably different, you know. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't really thought about it. I just, you know, I've been on go ever since the day I got the job, and ever since I've finally had a chance to meet my players. You know, I've also been mindful of their time. I mean, you know, it's Wake Forest is a really good. It's a great school. They've got academics to deal with too. You know, and so I can't just dominate all their time. But when we are together, I think we do get a lot done. I think you know, we're making a lot of progress, and I'm happy. I'm happy where we're at.
Coach, you cited Isaiah Wilkins as one of the 2 perimeter players that are at the top of the heap right now in practice. Is that a bit of a surprise to you? And what has he done in these early practices to kind of set himself apart?
Well, I don't know if it was a surprise, because I really didn't have any expectations for anybody when practice started. I didn't watch any film. The only film I watched was of Olivier, because I was getting ready to go talk to him when I got the job. I wanted to see I didn't know anything about him until I got the job. So I watched a little bit of him, you know, so I could visit with him about his game. Other than that, I didn't watch one tape, one second of film. And so my expectations were with what I was going to see with my eyeballs. And so I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, maybe in your mind, when you recruit guys and you maybe have in your mind what you think they can and can't do, but I'm really kind of from Missouri. I'm from that show me state. You got to show me what you can and can't do. And this is what he's done. And so, it's kind of an example of the best times I've ever been good at some of the best players I've ever signed. I just went and watched without knowing rankings. No offense. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but just seeing what I see and not blocking out the noise of what a kid is supposed to be, right? Or somebody says that he is. I sometimes struggle with that when I was at East Tennessee State because I go watch kids play. And I would try to put on my high major glasses first to see, is that kid good enough to play, in the ACC? And a lot of times I would think that he wasn't, and I would think I could recruit him, and then I'd go and find out that he had 10 high major offers, And so I think with Chico, it's more just giving him the opportunity to compete, and he's taking full advantage of it. And him and Ian, the reason why they're the best two perimeter defenders, because they're usually in the right spot. And if you think about it, the greatest football defensive coordinators, they're putting their guys in the right spots and make plays, right? Flying around and making plays. And that's what those guys are usually in the right spot, and they do a pretty darn good job of trying to keep the ball in the middle of the floor, which is really important to me.
Coach, how much have you relied on Davian to help in practice to kind of get the guys up to speed?
Well, Davian's probably got his butt chewed a little bit more than most. Sometimes when I'm mad at everybody, I just yell at him. He's been awesome. Davian's the best, man. He's got great team personality. I don't know what I did with his stat sheet. He's got great numbers right now. He's shooting like 85 from the line, almost 40 from three. Over 40 from three, actually. His assist turnover ratio is up right at 2-to-1. And he's gained some weight. He's gained some strength in the weight room, and that is really that's helped him. And he needs it defending bigger, stronger guards and defending the ball screen. But the thing I'm probably most proud of with him is when we're doing some drills and he's not in the drill, and he's out on the court coaching and grabbing guys and putting them in the right spots. That part makes the coach smile, And the guys, you haven't been to practice, but one of the things is I don't allow the guys out of the drill to just stand there. They got to coach, and I will stop the drill and chew out the guys on the baseline, not the guys in the drill. And that's shocking to them at first. They're like, whoa. It's called accountability. And it's called, if you can coach it and you can say it, then you can go do it. And then they're encouraging their teammates. I'm always on about encouraging each other. I can create the negative. They don't need to create that amongst themselves. And so it's constant talk. I've always believed this. A quiet gym is a losing gym. A quiet gym is a losing gym. And so that's big. And I think Davian, he understands that because he's been with me. So when things get a little tough or a little, like they're not sure what's going on, he's always that guy that kind of gets guys going to the right spots. And so really happy that he's eligible to play. Happy for his family. He's got a wonderful mother. You can't find what a great representative of our institution and of our program. He's a great kid.
You mentioned some of the drawbacks of COVID, obviously not from a recruiting standpoint and all those things, but you get good news with Davian and Isaiah being eligible. And on top of that, the news came out with football getting an extra year of eligibility. Basketball is going to get the same for winter sports. Mm-hmm. How much do you think that benefits you as you try to build this program back up?
Josh, I'm really not sure because I haven't really taken the time yet to visit. I mean, with most of these guys are grad transfers that we have that are seniors. So if you're talking about that class of guys, I really haven't talk to him about it much. But I will tell you this: I think it does help Isaiah Mucius, Odiaguama, Ishmael Masood, Jacoby Neep, Davian Williamson, all the younger guys for sure. I mean, why wouldn't it? It's a free year to play and get bigger and get stronger. Now, as they get older and they get closer and they get towards graduation, then that's their decision, right? Do they want to continue to be in college and play, or do they want to, after they get their degree, do they want to move on? I think the economy has something to do with that a little bit right now. Is that the NBA hasn't even had their draft yet. I think we're finding that the economy in Europe, because of COVID, is hurt professional basketball. All those teams need sponsorships, and so the market is not as good as it's been, overseas. And so, and then what's going to go on with the D League or the G League? I don't know. And so there's a lot of uncertainty out there for these guys, to leave college right now and play. And so I think it's nice that they have the option to stay if they want to stay.
Coach, have your expectations about how many games you might be able to play, has it changed at all in recent weeks?
Yeah, John, I don't know, man. I don't. That's why I don't think we're going to have a regular season. I think that we're going to get on paper 27 games, and then we're going to see. I don't expect that most teams will get that many in unless something drastically changes, with a vaccine or something, which I don't see that happening. I'm not no expert on that, but we're getting ready to start here. And so I don't think, my expectation is at some point it'll affect us in some way. And it may not be our team, John. It may be the other team, right? That we can't control. And so I've really tried to not look ahead too far, just take it day to day, week to week in practice. I think we're going to have to do that with the season and just be ready to adjust, and whatever curveball we get, we'll have to deal with, but my gut feeling is I think it'll be hard for most of us to play 27 games, but who knows? Maybe we will.
Steve, to follow up on that, do you have any trepidation about playing an indoor sport during a pandemic? So much of what we've seen has been NFL and MLB. The NBA and NHL did it, but with incredibly strict protocols. I don't know. Do you have any worry about that kind of thing or risk?
Well, I have total faith in Wake Forest, and we'll do everything in our power to make sure our players are safe. We have a unbelievable medical staff. We'll follow the rules of what the CDC and what the government says, and we won't do anything to put our players in any way to put them in harm's way. For me personally, as long as Wake says, this is safe and the government says it and CDC, we're going to follow the protocols, and then, we'll play. So I haven't really felt that way. The players haven't said that to me. I think with the players, it's more, the isolation, right, of having to social distance and probably be in their room a lot more than they really want to be, and when you think about this, when the students go home Thanksgiving, these guys are going to be here for a while by themselves. That's a bit of a lonely time. And so I'm a little more concerned about their mental health than maybe some of their. I'm concerned about both, but I think we have to really be concerned about what's going on with them mentally too, just being isolated. But I don't feel that way, because I feel very confident that we'll follow all the right protocols.
Yesterday, by the way, Roy Williams said he planned to coach in a mask. How much have you thought about that kind of thing going forward?
Well, I'll do whatever we're told to do. I haven't coached without a mask since we started on July 25th. So I didn't have any expectations that maybe I would be able to. I think I'll do what the what Wake says and what the ACC says, what the CDC. I mean, there's going to be so many people that are above me giving me the best advice, and so I'm going to do what's the safest for my players and for myself. The hardest thing is wearing these things with the old mask, okay? Because we can do a press conference with one on, right? What do you think? Problem is, if I go up here, I can't see because my glasses are already fogging, and so it's a challenge. It's a challenge for me. I don't wear contacts. I tried that on. That didn't work. So the players like it because when the ball goes to the other end of the court, a lot of times I can't see what's going on. And so, I'm just doing a lot of yelling and screaming, like, what's going on down there? And so we'll see. Yeah, we're all going to have to adjust when it comes to the mask for sure.
Andy Reid
Spike
said
the mask, though, like you did in the
masks.
intro video.
Yeah, that's over. That was a one-time gig, not to be replicated. Maybe only at Halloween if I go as Bane. Maybe then, but then I got to put some holes in my nose. I'm not into that pain stuff. No, I'm not going to replicate that. Maybe, I guess, coaches, we'll throw down a pen or a clipboard once in a while. Maybe if I get mad, maybe I'll rip off my mask and pound it down. But if I do that, then all the cameras are going to be on me and I'm going to be in trouble, so I gotta, I'm going to have to try to be as compliant as possible.
Andy Reid's had success with the face mask.
Andy's a big boy like me. I might have to, I don't know. I mean, it gets so foggy in there. I don't know, man. I haven't tried that yet. I mean, that's kind of my last ditch thing, is the full bore shield, but I'm not so sure you still got to wear I don't know. Maybe you got to wear a mask under that thing. I don't know, but Andy's a good role model. He's a big fellow that can coach. So maybe I need to try that out. That thing looks like something I was like, every time I see it, I think about if I'm a painter. I'm a painter or I'm like spraying for wasps or something. I don't look like that's like a coaching attire to me.
Steve, I got a quick defensive question for you real quick. Just I think you inherit some guys and you bring in some guys that have like a really interesting mix of length. And I wonder how you go about helping those guys utilize that best in the way that you want to play defense.
Oh yeah, I love tall guys that can shoot. Recruit offense, coach defense, right? This is what I feel like. I wrote this down, Ethan. I want pressure on the ball. It's important. I don't want the ball in the middle of the floor. You got to be able to guard your man at least 2 dribbles without requiring help. If you can't do that, it's hard to play. I want a hand and a foot in the post. Can't put it behind. I want your butt to the ball, belly to the man, in the gaps, up the floor, stripping and ripping. I want a strong gaucho. You say, well, what's a gaucho? That's help. That's the help man at the basket. Okay, it's important to me because we don't let the ball go middle. The help's coming from the baseline. On baseline rotation, we take away the habit pass and the hammer. The habit pass is usually a post that's around the basket that's dropped in there for a dump off. And the hammer pass is the pass to the corner that everybody's throwing. Opposite corner, you may call it drift. I call it hammer. And then there's a seeker. And he's the guy left, and he takes the next pass out. And then we play with multiple efforts. We fly around, and we finish the possession with a contested shot and a 2-handed rebound. Now, when we can do that consistently, we're going to be pretty good. So does that length help with that? For sure. For sure. But sometimes those guys with that length too struggle to keep the ball in the middle of the court. You got to move your feet. Okay, but when you have length, you can contest, you can rebound, but I don't think we're a very good rebounding team right now. Obviously, we're not very tall, but that doesn't mean anything in rebounding. Rebounding to me is just going and getting the ball, having a nose for it. I had one of the best rebounders in the country the last 2 years in Jerome Rodriguez, and he was about 6'7". We need more guys that want to pursue the ball and get outside of their area and go get it. So if they can do those things that I just explained, then yes, the length is huge. And we do have some long guys, and I love it. I love it. We just got to get them in the right spots. They got to play hard every possession and finish the play with a rebound. When we can do that, I think the length will really pay off.
One of those long guys is Ishmael Massoud. What have you seen from him so far in these practices, and how should we expect his game to develop as the season progresses?
Ish hasn't missed a free throw, and we stat everything live. He hasn't missed a free throw in live play. That's been impressive to me. He's not shooting the ball. He puts a lot of time. He's one of the hardest workers on the team, but his percentages aren't great right now because I don't think he's yet figured out a great shot between a great shot and a contested shot, a tougher shot. But he's got great length on the perimeter, so he can really get his shot off. I think with Ish, it's more he's got to defend better. He's got to move his feet. He's going to guard smaller people sometimes, especially, the four like for us is a guard, right? And so, he's guarding guys that can put it on the deck. And so he's got to do it better. And he's working hard at it. He's getting better at keeping the ball in the middle of the court. And then he's got to go rebound down with his length. But what I think he can be is a weapon offensively. He can really – I think he's going to really be a guy that can score the ball. But he's got to defend better, and his percentages got to go up, and his turnovers got to come down to get the playing time that he wants.
Couple final questions, guys. Are we all good?
Oh, come on, man.
FYI, Steve, Andy Reid used a defogging lotion of some type on his face shield, so it can be done.
Is that like Rain-X?
I don't know. It's something hockey players use.
Oh, hockey players. Well, there you go.
Apparently, the equipment guy for the Chiefs apparently figured it out after week 1.
Well, my sister lives in Minneapolis, in Rosemount, up in Minneapolis, so it's the hockey mecca up there. I'll see if she can go to well, they don't have Dick's or Academy Sports. What do they got up there? It's called something else. I can't remember. I'll have to have her maybe see if she can go find me some of that spray. Knowing my luck, I'll spray it in my eyes or something, and then I won't be able to see. But anybody else? I appreciate you guys being on here today. And listen, the guys they're working hard, man. They're good guys, and I love coach. I've never ever walked in there not excited to be there the day of practice. I enjoy coaching these guys. They're fun, and they're going to rise to the occasion. It's been different for them, and you got to remember they've gone through a lot. They've gone through COVID. They've lost their coach. They didn't meet this guy till July, and now I'm coming with all these new ideas and ways to play. And so you got to give those, and then they got to not live a regular college life. You got to give the kids a lot of credit, and they're good kids and they're hard workers. And so I'm proud of them.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you, Coach.
Thanks, Steve.
All right.
Steve. Thanks, Will.
Steve.